Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Enigmatica 2 Expert. So, since the last episode, I did go ahead and I started building out this wall. It's not totally done, but I did start building it out a little bit. And I also dropped all this down to the floor, and then I just put mana glass over the top of this. Now, this mana glass is not going to stay just like this. It's going to have, I'm going to do some chisels and bits over the top of it. But for right now, I left it open so we could see down there a little bit better. Also, right here is sneaky false blocks, so we can step behind here. There's the redstone setup. It's identical to the way that it was. There's the lava flowing down. Pistons are right beneath these blocks of cobblestone. And then if we head down right here, and we just follow this back, you'll be able to see there's some cables that run through. Like there's dense light blue cable, that's our Britannia line. And I basically just brought the cable over. Fluix cable comes down right there. If we step through here, it comes out right here. There's an import bus. And I've been kind of staying near this. I've got this running at the moment. We're actually going to set something up to deal with this. But I made some picks, and I just now put them in here. It's basically 6 Cobalt Pickaxes. They're wood rods, paper binding, cobalt head. Okay, and I've got reinforced 3 on all of them. Basically, I've got to get them up to reinforced. And I was originally thinking about using golems, but then we have to do Thaumcraft, and it's a whole other thing to get Thaumcraft stable again. So I decided against it. I'm just going to leave it as is for now. We'll do breaker or mechanical users. Then long term, we might switch these over to golems, because golems can do silk touch. And I decided that's what I think I want here. But basically, I've got these just breaking stone right now just to build up XP. Okay. Now, we need to, before we get started on the whole setup here, I want to plug this up so that the items get fed over into this import bus. Okay. This does have 4 acceleration cards. I do have some things made up here. I was playing around, trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. I actually made 6 pickaxes with Fortune 3, and then I changed my mind because we're going to go for max output on coal from this setup. Okay, everything else, it can get processed through the system, you know, that's fine. The system that we set up last episode, but it's imperative that we get maximum coal output. And I'll explain why that is, because I was doing some testing, and the Orechid costs are a little bit higher than they used to be, so it's really important that we get max output. But we can make this self-sustaining and have mana excess being made. Let's go ahead and grab a couple storage crates. Let's grab this advanced item collector. Let's grab an item conduit, as well as this transparent conduit facade. Now, transparent conduit facades are kind of a newer thing within Ender.io. And basically, you can just craft these. It's quite clear glass with conduit binder around it, makes transparent conduit facades. And what these do is if you paint them with something that's not a solid block, like water or flowers or something like that, it's going to make it into an invisible conduit facade. It's kind of nifty. Kind of nifty indeed. And so what we're going to do is we're going to set up our first crate right here. Just right in the middle of these mechanical users. And this is where all the stuff's going to get collected. You know, the later on it'll be ores and all that stuff that's going to get collected here. We're going to go ahead and put this down right there. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop the Y radius down to 1. That's all we're going to do. We're going to drop it down to 1, and that's it. Everything else, we can actually set these up to 6 is the max, so we'll set it up to 6. Okay, so 6 on the X, 6 on the Z, and that should cover, you know, it's collecting right there. It's breaking here. It should be collecting, yeah, you can see it's collecting all the cobblestone. And that cobblestone is just going into the storage crate. And let me dump all this stuff that I was collecting. Okay, so that's done. Item collection's done, and then we'll be mining here. I'm just kind of waiting on these levels to build up, is really what I'm waiting for. Okay, so then what we're going to do, we're actually going to use an item conduit. Normally I try to steer clear of these things. They're overused, and they're kind of laggy. But in this case, we're only going to use 1. So we're going to put it right there. Okay, and we're going to set this to extract, always active. And right here, we're going to set up another storage crate, just right on top of this import bus. And we're going to say that you can insert. Okay, So it's going to start pulling out that cobblestone. It's going to start feeding it into the storage crate. I don't need speed upgrades. Like, for example, if I grab all of this and dump it into there, this isn't going to back up. It's going to keep up, you know, pulling out the items and stuff like that. So that'll be fine. Okay, so then what we're going to do is, let's see. We've got quite a bit to cover this episode. We're waiting on the pickaxes. So let's go ahead and set up the mana system that we're going to be using. And I actually decided that we're going to take this marble pillar and we're going to bring this mana pool up by 1, like that. Okay. And let's make sure that our orchid is linked to that. Shift right click, shift right click. So it's going to accept mana from this fabulous mana pool. Oh, and this transparent conduit facade. Sorry. We're going to put this down right there. Okay. So that way it's just kind of hidden. It just looks like 2 storage crates down here just sitting there. And then what we're going to do, because we can kind of see down inside of there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab, right here, I made up 4 elven mana spreaders. And I made up 32 floating endoflames. These aren't too bad to craft if you take your seeds and you just place them on top of the petal apothecary and then just sit here and, you know, you throw the recipe in one time, but then you just right click with an empty hand and you can just craft endoflame, craft endoflame, craft endoflame, just over and over again. It's pretty quick. But I will say I need a lot more of these. Next episode, or the episode after, whenever we finish the ore processing system, depending on if we get it all done this episode or not. The following episode, we're going to be automating the Jade Amaranthus as well as Petal Apothecary, because I need it. I need a lot of floating endoflames, and we need the Jade Amaranthus because I'm almost out of flowers. We need Petal Apothecary automated because making endoflames, even if it's easy throwing the seeds on top, it's still a pain. We don't like doing that. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, I actually need some of that cobblestone that I tossed in here. So let me grab that. There we go. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up our endoflames and our mana spreaders. So we're going to bring up, so that'd be 1, 2. Let's actually bring this up like 1 more. Yeah. Right there. And we're going to bring this out like this. And I think that'll be good. And then we're going to take our elven spreaders. These are, by the way, these are the upgraded versions. I forgot to mention. I actually started recording this episode. That's why some of the stuff's already made. I started recording it, and then I was like, I changed my mind, and yeah. And so I was just like, wipe, restart, you know. But these, you take standard mana spreaders, and you just upgrade them. They're very, very cheap. Just 6 dream wood, some stardust, elementium pipe piece, which is just elementium ingots melted in the Tinker's Construct smeltery. So, and then we're going to place down elven mana spreaders around this. Like, I had this other setup in mind. Well, it's kind of the same thing, but just slightly different. Like, we're changing to Silk Touch for this one, and, you know, just little things like that. And so I just opted to change it slightly there. And then what we're going to do, I don't think this will interfere. We'll find out here in just a second. No, it's not blocking the mana spreader. That's great. Okay, so we're going to have endoflames right there. And let me just, that one is linked, that one's linked, that one's linked, that one's linked to the appropriate ones. And then we're going to do endoflames on the sides. And I will say 32 is not nearly enough to run 6 lines of stone. It's not even going to run 1 line of stone. But it's something that we have to scale up. And endoflames, normally they're not too exciting. You know, it's just they burn things and woo, they make mana. And it's kind of like the newbie flower, I think. Like, normally I don't care too much for automated endoflame setups. But this system, it's going to make sense. It's going to be big. There's going to be a lot of flowers floating around up here. And I think you guys are going to like it once it's done. Plus, it's just going to look pretty epic to watch it run. Okay, so we'll do ones on the back as well. Just kind of sneak around on top of these on top of these. And then we've got 16 left, so we'll do ones back here as well. Like that. And then we've got 8 left. Let's do one there, one there. These two are connecting to that one, that's fine. Then we're going to do one there, one there. That, we want this one to connect to this. We want to make sure that these are, you know, these are different, so that's good, that's good. Okay. Then we're going to do there, there, that one's connected appropriately. And then we're going to do there and there, this one to there, this one to there. Okay, so everything's balanced out and we have a bunch of endoflames. And that's only just the start of the endoflames. So, fun times. And then the next thing I want to do is I made up some velocity lenses. And the reason we're going with these is you can really either go with potency or velocity. I don't know. Normally I go with potency. Is that what I want to do? It's not really going all that far. But I'd rather go with that instead of velocity. Basically, velocity makes it travel faster, which means that the bursts reach the mana pool faster. Okay, and as soon as a burst reaches a mana pool, then the spreader can fire again. I'm going to try velocity, and we'll give it a shot. And if we decide we want to change to potency, we can. Now, you can mix them, but potency results in slower speed. Velocity results in lower capacity, so they kind of... I think it's actually still a little bit better if you mix them, but they kind of negate themselves. So I don't know if it would really be better than just straight up extra speed or extra potency. We're going to try the velocity. It means it's going to reach this mana pool pretty much instant. It's going to be super fast, and then it can fire another burst. So it's going to be kind of a bit more rapid with the way that it... with the way that it sends mana. It's going to look cooler to watch it run because it's going to be like, just firing off. So we're going to have a lot of like particles and stuff. It'll be maybe pretty cool. And if we don't like it, we can change the potency later. So, and then next up, let's grab this large ornate block and this wooden pressure plate that's painted like this large ornate living rock brick. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this right in the middle. Okay, now eventually this is going to be kind of shaped up to be kind of sort of like a chandelier type design. Is kind of what I'm thinking. But for right now it's just a block floating in the air. I've got to do some chisels and bits here. That's fine. So wooden pressure plate, living rock brick right there. And then what we're going to do is this is going to be the dropping system for the coal. Okay, we're going to take our automatic precision dropper. And you could go with an open crate and a hopper. The only thing is hoppers tend to be pretty laggy, so I'm going with the automatic precision dropper just because it'll be maybe less lag. So, and I think we can make it look alright. So, automatic precision dropper right there. And basically it's just going to drop items onto the wooden pressure plate, and there you go. That's what it does. And we're going to leave it on redstone mode deactivation. So if there's a redstone signal, it deactivates. Then we're going to grab this phantom redstone face. These are very easy to craft. Just some empowered restonia around a phantom face and some redstone. Very, very simple. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to take our... what did I do with it? My phantom connector. We're going to take the phantom connector and we're going to shift right click this wooden pressure plate. There we go. It says block stored to this connector. And then we're going to pop up here. We're going to put our phantom redstone face right here. And then just shift right click. And there we go. It's connected to the wooden pressure plate. So whenever this wooden pressure plate gets a signal, i.e. stuff sitting on top of it, it's going to emit a redstone signal up to the phantom redstone face, which in turn stops the automatic precision dropper. Very, very simple and very, very clean. We can just put our pressure plate right there and we're good, and then what we're going to do, that's pretty much everything that was in this crate minus this power cell, which we'll use that in a little bit. Not right this second. Let me just go ahead and dump that stuff. Okay, let me see how these picks are going. They have one modifier. I don't know if I want to leave them in there for 2 modifiers. Yeah, I'm going to leave them in there for a little bit longer for 2 modifiers. And realistically, I could... Let's see. It breaks it quick. For right now, just while I'm leveling that, it would be good if I set this to like every 1 second, push the stone. Okay, so maybe they'll level up a little bit quicker for us. Okay, now while that stuff's running, it is high time that we set up our water mills in a proper setup. Because these have been sitting here, they're ugly, they don't need to be here like this anymore. Let's pull them up. We are going to get into a little bit of GP stuff today. Basically, it's something that I have to scale up. Okay, so let's grab these. And I'm also going to, in addition, I'm going to want more meals than just that. I mean, I've got these fire meals. Operate when placed over fire. They give you 4 GP. We'll go ahead and take those. We'll set those up. Now, we've also got options for lava meal. Produces 4 GP. Windmills, they vary based on how much wind. I don't like things that vary, usually. There's also the dragon egg meal, which, that's all fine. It produces 500 GP, which is really good. But the question is, how are we going to get a dragon egg? I know they're craftable, and they're actually not even expensive. So yes, let's do that. Let's get ourselves, I can get some more dragon hearts. I can replicate them. I need to set up a replication system for them. But we can turn our fire dragon hearts into dragon hearts. That's fine. So there's that. And then what was the other thing that we needed? Just 4 dragonstone. Could not be easier. So let's order 4 of those. There we go. There's our dragon egg. Bomb. And then we're going to get ourselves our dragon meal. Dragon egg meal. So this right here, I'm going to need 4 pieces of stone burn. I'm going to need a redstone gear, which I actually have that automated. And then an eye of redstone. Not a problem. Okay, so I just had a great idea. You know, during the stream the other day, we made that area, right? Let me get a little bit of netherrack so we can use these fire generators. We made this area that's down here. And I said I didn't really know exactly what I was going to put in here, but I didn't want to waste the space, so we were going to put something in here. GP production would be perfect. Maybe expand this room out and just have just a bunch of GP production. I think it would be good. And then, you know, maybe make this like our extra utilities room or something. But, yeah, so we'll use this area. And what we'll do is we'll set up, oh, let's see. I'm thinking we'll use netherrack for putting down the floor for right now. We're going to have, right as you enter, if we did like there, just basically right off where you enter at for each of these little sections, we're going to do dragon meals. Eventually I'm going to fill all these out. Right now, just the diminished returns, it's not really worth it to us. But long term, we won't really care. You know, we'll have plenty of nether stars, so we'll eventually fill this out with dragon egg meals. So that right there, we're generating 500 GP. 500 GP. It's a massive amount of GP production. And then what we'll do is we're going to add in some fire meals, and these just require that they have fire underneath them. So what we'll do is we'll set up 7, 8, oh, this is going to be perfect, 9, 10, we'll do that. And yeah, I think this is just going to be a GP haul, is all we'll really use it for, but it's a place where we can stick GP out of the way and not have to worry about it. So we're going to go through and just light this. I know that the fire is going to be floor level. That's on purpose. We're going to put like a little gate around it, and this room will get expanded back a little bit. But what we're going to do is we're going to set up our fire meals. These produce 4 GP each when they're placed above fire. So we're now producing 512, 516, and so on GP. There we go. Okay. And then we've also got these water mills. These... I don't know if I just want to set them up down through here. Okay, a spot of bad news. My PC filled up on recordings, so... And of course it would do it when we're working up to like a big setup, you know? And I didn't notice it until I ended out the episode. I was like, oh my gosh, seriously. I clean it out. I do clean it out very often. But it still sneaks up on me sometimes. Like, you make so much footage. Like, I have about a half a terabyte for recordings, and it just fills up so fast. Because I generally have, like, for a 30-minute episode, I have like an hour and a half, you know, of footage, usually. So I do apologize. But I ended up setting up the water mills like this for right now. It may move, you know, I don't know for sure. We'll figure it all out once I lay out this room. But basically, they're both producing 16 GP. I've got a water source there that's hitting this side, this side, this side. Then I have a water source here that's hitting this side, water source here that's hitting this side, this side. And so they're both producing 16 GP. We're producing a total of 572 GP at the moment. And you can see it's running through some grid power. And I'll show you where it's using that grid power. If we head up here, we got the most of the stuff, the intricate stuff we got done on camera. I'm going to walk you through the last part. You can see it's actually running at the moment. So far it seems to be fine, self-sufficient, it's fine. So basically what I've got here is the storage crate, right here, the one that extracts. You know, there is cables that run up through here. And basically I made a mechanical squeezer from Integrated Dynamics. These things aren't super elaborate to make. They do require just a little bit of stuff, some diamond dust, some obsidian plates, 3 of these squeezers, which are very easy to craft, and then 2 of these energy batteries, which are also very easy to craft. And what this does is it takes the coal ore and it crushes it, squeezes it, and it produces 6 coal with a 50% chance to get a 7th piece of coal, which seems to be about the best output that we can get from this. 50% on the 7th, and it does tend to get it. See, there goes a piece of coal, and it squeezes it. We got 6 coal that time. And then from that mechanical squeezer, it goes down and it feeds into this resonator. And this resonator, what it does is I have 4 speed upgrades in here, which are very easy to craft. There are better speed upgrades. We'll get into those later. Right now, they're a little bit involved for us. We don't really need them at the moment until we just expand this setup, which I'll explain in just a second. But the coal comes in here, and what happens is it gets turned into red coal. Okay? And we're going to take a close look at red coal here in just a second. And then that red coal gets extracted to this phantom face. There's a power cell right here, by the way, that powers the mechanical squeezer. But this phantom face, what it does is it feeds up to our dropper that's up here. Okay? And then you can see it's not dropping any coal right now because they're all running. And the pressure plate's activated, so the redstone phantom face shuts off the automatic precision dropper. But you can see right here we've got red coal. Okay, and this stuff, the reason we're going with this is because it's a 700% efficiency boost over standard coal. Okay, so it's nearly a block of coal. As far as burn time goes, it's nearly a block of coal for 1 piece of coal. And that's why we set up all that GP. We don't actually need all that GP at the moment. You know, we're not even using, I think we're using 80 to run the resonator, but we need that GP to boost the fuel efficiency. And even if you're using the GP, that's okay. You just have to be creating so much GP, and it's quite a bit. I think a dragon meal probably puts you to 700%. I don't know for sure, but we're producing all that GP so that our fuel, our red coal, has a 700% efficiency boost. So that way its burn time is 700% of normal. So it runs these endoflames, like a single piece of red coal will run the endoflames for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes, something like that. You know, before it has to change over. So it is quite effective, to say the least. Now, right now, I haven't noticed any of this despawning. It doesn't really seem to be despawning because there's other endoflames that need it, and it kind of rotates around. So it seems to be okay. You know, like I said, I haven't really noticed them despawning. So, yeah, you can see right there. It came around, it's picking up more red coal. So, because the way the timing's set up, it kind of works out. And then as we add more endoflames, the chance for it to despawn gets less and less. So, but yeah. So, and then those burn mana, and then those burn the red coal and produce mana, and it gets sent down here, and you can hear that pow ever so often. Of course, that is, hey, there's coal. That is, the system is making ore blocks. So it's not too slow about it, and it'll just get faster. You know, eventually we'll upgrade these to Gaia spreaders, so we can move more mana, and then we can attach more endoflames. Chances are next episode we'll probably add like another 32 endoflames to this setup, and you know, be sending the mana down. As far as mana transfer, it's not really an issue because these aren't really having any sort of an issue at all. So yeah, that's the setup basically. And so far, like I said, so far it seems self-sufficient. So from what I'm noticing, I'm getting about for every 32 coal used, I get about 34 coal back. So I mean, it's not a super gain, but it's a gain. And eventually we'll get, I mean, right now we're not getting any coal ore into the AE system. Is that a big issue? Not really. You know, I mean, do I really use all our coal? No. So it's not really a concern for us at the moment if we get a lot of coal in. The main thing is getting, you know, these other things like Certus and copper and diamonds and emeralds. But eventually, once this does start backing up, probably by next episode, we might see it by next episode, we should start getting a little bit of coal in. It'll only be like maybe 1 or 2 ores per rotation. So you're looking at like 4 or 8 coal. And that's assuming RNG isn't really bad, you know, there for a minute or something. But it seems like we're getting enough so that we're comfortably running this. And we don't really have to worry about as we scale it up because, hey, I mean, more coal. We don't really have to worry about as we scale this up because as we add, say we add another 32 endoflames. Basically, more mana is being produced, so more ores are being produced, so there you go. It balances itself out. The hourglass speeds, the mining picks that are down there, the mechanical users, none of that stuff ever has to change, ever. It should be able to keep up just fine. Basically, once we speed this up, we're going to see more ores coming down here. I mean, right now, you know, it's not even running a line's worth of this. But once we toss in, say, another 32 endoflames, it should be able to sustain probably the equivalent of a full line. You know, this constantly, you know, an ore every 4 seconds, basically. But ideally, once we scale this out with a lot of endoflames and a lot of spreaders, then we should be getting 6 ores every 4 seconds. It's going to be a big setup, and it's going to be something that we're going to kind of grow as we go. So there's going to be endoflames all over this area, just spreader bursts and stuff. It's going to be really, really cool. I want a big, massive setup like this. And endoflames, it just takes so many of them to like produce enough mana, you know, to do a lot with. So you end up with like massive setups, but they look really cool. So we're just going to have like tons of endoflames, tons and tons of endoflames. Once it's all said and done. But yeah, that's really what we have to scale up. It's just adding more endoflames. We'll upgrade these eventually to Gaia spreaders. They should be able to sustain probably 20 or 24, 32, something like that. Endoflames each. And then eventually we'll have to add more spreaders and more endoflames. And then eventually we will probably even have to maybe add a second mechanical squeezer and a second resonator, or speed up, probably just speed upgrades in this one, better speed upgrades. But this will be where we probably will have to scale up, aside from endoflames and spreaders. And I guess technically we could run this off of, we could set up a spark system, and that's something that we probably will end up doing for this, is set up a spark system that will then send mana from additional setups into this main one. So we'll do something like that probably. But for right now, this works for us. And I just want something that's an Orechid setup that's 100% self-sufficient. Of course, we do have to use a little bit of extra utilities to make it self-sufficient, but so far it does seem to be self-sufficient. This thing's running non-stop. But yeah, by next episode we should be able to really tell kind of how things stand. Are we backed up on red coal? You know, because it's on a server, it's going to run, it's chunk loaded and all that good stuff. So by next episode, are we backed up on red coal, or are we backing up on red coal? Are we empty? You know, do we need to feed over, you know, maybe a little bit of charcoal from somewhere else, like the tree farm or something? But we'll see. We'll play it by ear and see how it goes. But anyways, I do apologize about the missing footage, but that pretty much covers the rest of the setup. You know, like basically what you guys missed was the mechanical squeezer and the resonator going down in the phantom face, which we've set up a bunch of those now. That's really all that you guys missed, and then I turned it on. is about it. So, and the picks here are set up with Silk Touch. Oh, and this item conduit, one other thing. This item conduit does have a filter here that's set to just coal ore, and it's higher priority. It's a priority of 10 on this, just to make sure that it prioritizes sending stuff to the mechanical squeezer, and then if this is backed up, it can send it to the storage crate. Just in the case of coal. Everything else just goes into the storage crate and goes in the system. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Once again, I do apologize about the footage. I know it happens to others who record, and it's just one of those. It's one of those like recording things you just have to watch out for, because it inevitably happens to everybody. So, I do apologize though. I hate whenever it happens. So. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you guys have any questions about the setup or what we covered today, let me know down in the comments and I'll do my best to get those answered for you. Like I said, next episode we are going to automate the Petal Apothecary and the Jaded Amaranthus. That way we can seamlessly increase the number of endoflames, because it's really not expensive to make endoflames. It's not. But it requires a lot of manual effort if we don't have it automated. So I'd like to get that automated, and then before long we're going to set up an Orechid Ignum. So just a heads up there. That's going to be fun stuff as well. Which is basically a nether version of the Orechid, and it only works in the nether, so we're going to have to do a little bit of nether work, but we are going to set up one of those so we can get nether quartz and glowstone coming in. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the episode, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already. Stay updated with when new videos come out, and I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys next time.